What if psychic abilities are just your biology upgrading to its next evolutionary level? Hey everyone. So I've been getting messages from people who are experiencing something pretty wild. And I'm talking about those of you who've moved way beyond what we typically call psychic abilities. You know what I mean? Like, you started with maybe some intuition, some dreams that came true, feeling energy around people. The usual stuff. But now you're dealing with something completely different. Something that feels less like a special gift and more like, well, like your body just naturally does this now. And here's the thing that's really getting my attention. When I talk to advanced practitioners, they're not even calling it psychic anymore. They're describing it more like breathing or seeing. Just another biological function that their system has integrated. So today we're diving deep into what happens when these abilities stop being occasional experiences and start becoming just how you operate in the world. Let me break this down based on what I'm observing, because there are actually distinct stages that people go through. Stage 1 is what most people recognize as psychic development. You get flashes of insight, maybe some telepathic moments. Energy healing starts working for you. It's still sporadic, still feels special or unusual. Stage 2 is where it gets interesting. The abilities become more reliable, more integrated. But here's what's crucial. The person stops thinking of themselves as gifted and starts recognizing this as just expanded human capacity. Stage 3 is what I'm calling post-psychic. And this is where my research gets really fascinating. Because at this level, these aren't abilities anymore. They're just biological functions. Like, your nervous system has literally evolved to process information differently. And what I've been documenting is that people at this stage often don't even talk about being psychic, because, would you call having eyes a psychic ability? Would you call being able to hear sounds a special gift? No. It's just how your body works. If you're experiencing this kind of integration, drop a comment, because your experience is actually contributing to our understanding of where human consciousness is heading. So what's actually happening in your biology when this shift occurs? Well, based on the research we're seeing, and I direct observed, your nervous system is literally restructuring itself. Think about it this way. When you first learned to read, you had to consciously decode each letter, sound it out, piece together words. But eventually, your brain developed neural pathways that just recognize whole words instantly. Reading became automatic. That's what's happening with these expanded capacities. Your brain is developing new neural networks that can process quantum information, morphic field data, non-local consciousness, as automatically as you process visual information. And here's where it gets really wild. People at this stage often report that trying not to access this information is actually harder than accessing it, because their system has integrated these capacities so completely that blocking them feels unnatural. My documentation shows that subjects at this level often experience what she calls information overwhelm, not from too much psychic input, but from trying to shut down biological functions that have become as natural as breathing. Let me share some examples of what this actually looks like in practice, because this isn't theoretical. This is happening to real people right now. Case 1, a woman who used to do energy healing work, but now she doesn't do healing anymore. Her presence literally recalibrates other people's energy fields automatically. She's not trying to heal anyone. It's just what her system does now. Like how a healthy person's immune system doesn't try to fight infections. It just does. Case 2, a guy who was into remote viewing, but now he doesn't practice remote viewing. He just knows things. Information flows to him constantly about situations, people, events. He's not seeking it, He's not trying to develop it. It's just how he processes reality now. Case 3. Someone who used to work with plant medicine for spiritual insights, but now they access non-ordinary states of consciousness as easily as you access different emotions. They don't need external substances because their biology has learned to produce these states naturally. And here's what's fascinating. None of these people identify as psychic anymore. They see themselves as evolved, upgraded, operating with biological capacities that used to be rare but are becoming more common. Are you recognizing your own experience in any of these examples? Let me know in the comments, because this kind of data is helping us understand the next phase of human development. Now here's something that my research reveals that most people don't talk about: the integration challenge. When these abilities first develop, you get excited. You feel special, chosen, different. But when they become biological functions, sometimes people actually go through a kind of identity crisis. Because if everyone could potentially access these capacities, if they're just natural human functions that we're remembering how to use, then what makes you special? What makes you unique? And this is actually a crucial evolutionary step, because moving beyond the ego investment in being gifted is what allows these capacities to fully integrate and become stable. The people who navigate this transition most successfully are the ones who stop identifying with the abilities and start identifying with consciousness itself, with the evolutionary process, with being part of humanity's upgrade. They stop asking why me, and start asking how can I help others access this too. So what does daily life look like when these capacities are fully integrated? Well, imagine if you suddenly developed enhanced vision that could see electromagnetic fields. At first, you'd be amazed, maybe overwhelmed. But eventually, it would just become part of how you navigate the world. That's what's happening with consciousness abilities. People are developing enhanced perception that can detect energy fields, probability streams, morphic field information, non-local consciousness data. And eventually, it just becomes part of how they navigate reality. They're not performing psychic readings. They're just seeing more of what's actually there. They're not channeling entities. They're just accessing broader bandwidths of consciousness. My documentation suggests that we're witnessing the emergence of what I call Homo Conscientia, humans whose biological systems have naturally evolved to process multidimensional information as standard operating procedure. And here's the bigger picture that my research is pointing toward. This isn't happening to just a few special individuals. This appears to be part of a species-wide upgrade that's accelerating right now. More and more people are reporting that their psychic abilities are becoming less special and more normal. Less something they do and more something they are. Which suggests that what we've been calling supernatural might just be natural human capacities that we're remembering how to access, biological functions that got suppressed or forgotten and are now coming back online. And if that's true, then we're not just witnessing individual transformation. We're witnessing human evolution in real time. The question isn't whether these capacities will become normal. Based on what I've been observing, they already are becoming normal. The question is how quickly we can help people integrate them in healthy, stable ways. So if you're experiencing this kind of integration, if abilities that used to feel special are now just part of how you function, know that you're not losing anything. You're not becoming less spiritual or less gifted. You're actually becoming more evolved, more integrated, more of what human beings are naturally capable of being. And your experience, your integration process, is contributing data to humanity's collective upgrade. You're not just transforming yourself, you're helping to anchor these capacities for our entire species. Every person who successfully integrates these biological upgrades makes it easier for the next person, creates morphic resonance that supports others going through the same process. So honor where you are in this evolutionary journey. Whether you're just beginning to notice expanded capacities, or whether they've become so natural you barely think about them anymore, you're part of something much bigger than individual development. You're part of human consciousness remembering what it's actually capable of. Until there, stay quantum. I am Elena D'Avalon, and in our next episode we explore multi-reality navigation, living parallel lives simultaneously, for those already jumping between timelines and wondering how to navigate multiple realities consciously.